Good morning. Good morning. I am going to have to bolt out the door as soon as this live has ended, simply because this is Give Back Day. This is a day where we help the less fortunate. Well, today is a day for me to help the less fortunate, and I have to head to Harlem. And so I needed to make sure everything was packed. It is super cold. Well, it was super cold. It was like yeah, it's 19 where I am right now. Luckily, the high will be 25. Where I'm going is off the water in Manhattan, so it's going to be even colder. So I just had to make sure everything was ready to go because I have to be there at a certain time. So, um, let's go ahead and get into it. I know this is an odd time for us to convene, um, but I knew I was going to be away this evening, so I didn't want to risk not being able to go live. So I'm happy for whoever is able to join us today live, and then whoever comes later after the live goes up. And so, oh my gosh, 2 days until Christmas. Feliz Navidad, all of that good stuff. I hope everyone has, plans, right? Even if it's plans to do nothing. I hope you just have plans. And as I mentioned yesterday, we will be coming live on Wednesday. Right now, I'm thinking it's going to be like 5-ish, 5 p.m. So I will post a confirmation either later tonight or tomorrow in the community tab. And so I hope that you can join us. And it's really to come together in community, for everyone who wants to be in community, rather you have family that you're celebrating with, or rather you don't. But I, am doing things different. Last year I was in Mexico for the first time over Christmas break. This year I've opted not to go where my family congregates, basically, on Christmas Day, and do some other things. So anyway, welcome, welcome, welcome. Enough shooting the breeze. Let me say hi to some people, and then I'll introduce myself, and then we'll get into today's topic. Hey, WM. Yes, I am having a good morning. It's cold, and I'm literally I've have my I'm fully dressed from the bottom down, but I'm gonna have to put some layers on. So I'm prepping for that. Hey, Larunda, good to see you. Hey, the Charlies, good to see you. El Shiva, welcome back. And Ebad is in the building, or Ebad. I don't know how um, if I'm mispronouncing it, but welcome. Today's topic. Let me pull up my notes because I plan these things so far in advance. So today we're going to talk about global health insurance versus travel insurance. Which one should you choose? Do you know the differences? Which one is best for you? And so basically, we're going to break down the definition, the key features, some additional benefits for each category. We shouldn't be here long. We'll go over the coverage scope for both. We'll go over the typical duration of coverage, talk about, what that means for pre-existing conditions, et cetera, et cetera. Um, the comparative cost, not dollar amount, because these things change based on your age, based on your condition, the condition of your health, lots, but we'll just give a general comparison. Talk about emergency services, trip related coverage, and the claims process. And there's a couple more things we may touch on. Oh my gosh, there's I forgot there was so much information. But I do want to make a quick disclaimer. I am not advising which you should get. I will not give advice of which type of coverage you should get. I can only go over the information that is factual. And then based on that information, please make your decision. Oh, I forgot to charge my light. I don't think I need it though. It's going to go out soon. So please make your decision. Also, in the From Here to There resource guide that is available in the link below, in the description below, there are clickable links to global health coverage. And so if you're interested in doing more research on your own, because I'm not giving recommendations on the companies you should go with. I'm just going to break down what each policy or type of coverage looks like and what falls in those categories. And then it's up to you to do your own research. We would be here for days. There's lots of types of coverage, lots of companies that provide coverage. And so if you want to really comparative shop, especially as it relates to global health insurance, go ahead, get that From Here to There resource guide. It's under the health insurance section. Okay, so let me introduce myself. Hey, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back. I am Kim, aka Kim with the Gems. I am the founder and creator of Black Travel and Culture Community. We were founded way back in 2017. I bring together like-minded individuals who are interested in travel. We cover everything from a cultural perspective, from a Black person's point of view and experience. And so this YouTube channel is an extension of that. We, on this channel, in addition to covering travel, we cover wellness and finances. And in the past 44 days, we have been on a daily live blitz. We are in a stay ready so we don't have to get ready movement, momentum, so that we are prepared for whatever changes we find ourselves facing with the changing of the guard. So if any of this information sounds great to you, go ahead and follow us here, subscribe to the channel. You can also follow us on our other social media platforms. We're pretty consistent on TikTok and Instagram, Facebook, but we are going to really ramp up this movement on all social media platforms after the new year. So follow us there, subscribe here, share this with friends and family. Go ahead and become part of the Gem Nation. Comment in the comment section, ask questions, drop some gems, do all the things to help us keep this movement going forward in motion. Yesterday was our celebration and some gem dropping for our 10,000 subscribers. And I thank you. Again, I'm not caught up in numbers at all. I'm caught up in community, right? I am caught up in those who engage, those who pay attention to what's going on, and those who want to help others. Each one teach one. And so with that being said, we could go ahead and get into today's topic. Another disclaimer, this is not about credit card insurance policies. We're not talking about those. There's different credit cards that offer different types of insurance, right? Some are good, some are less than good. But you need to read your policies and keep in mind that there are a lot of exclusions to think about when it comes to these credit card insurance policies, especially if it's not the elite credit cards. So I'm talking Black card, platinum cards, reserve cards, preferred cards, right? And depending on the bank that's issuing them. And so usually it's a blanket coverage for all card holders and won't always cover everything, right? So if you can't get out of work, you booked a trip, you can't get out of work, usually credit cards don't cover that. But there are other insurances that will. And so let's go ahead and get into the definition of, before I go on, if you have a question, just do me a favor, put the question mark sign or the QQQ before your question so I can easily identify it. Right now, it's manageable. I can see the people here. If the number increases, and I'm still having these challenges with StreamYard, I don't know. If the, chat gets busy, put the Q or QQQ, and I'll get to it quicker. Okay, so let's go ahead and define global healthcare, right? Well, I'm going to start with travelers because that tends to be the most popular. So, travel insurance or traveler's insurance is a short term insurance designed specifically for people who are traveling for a limited duration, usually for vacations, business trips, or short term stays abroad. Even though it can work domestically, a lot of policies, if you're more than a certain amount of miles away from your home and something happens, traveler's insurance kicks in. It is meant to provide financial protection against travel related risk, including medical emergencies, trip cancellations, lost baggage, and other unforeseen issues that might arise during your trip. What are some of the key features? We're going to do comparisons later after I go over the description of global health insurance. Some of the key features include emergency medical coverage. That just simply means provides medical coverage for illness or injuries that occur while you're traveling. This usually covers emergency care, hospitalization, and depending on the plan that you have, evacuation if needed. So that means if you're in a remote area or an area that cannot adequately address whatever your illness is or injury is, if you need to be evacuated, you want that coverage because evacuations could be in the tens upon tens of thousands, all the way up to hundreds of thousands, depending on how far, how urgent, how many, people need to go with you, all those things. So, evacuation is not a given under these policies, so you may need to make sure you pick a policy that includes that. It also, one of the other features is trip cancellation or interruption, which often includes coverage for trip cancellation, interruption, or delays due to unforeseen circumstances such as illness, accidents, or natural disasters. A lot of times we don't think that just because we plan a trip, that wherever we're headed to, just because where we are may not be known for monsoons, and I'm not laughing at the monsoons, or tsunamis or whatever, where we're traveling to, especially if you're looking at those discounted travel packages, which tend to occur during times where those places, it's their rainy season, it's monsoon season, it's not the prime season for you to travel. It's not typically the high season. So you want to take natural disasters into consideration. Or even with, the climate here in the US, things are rapidly changing, right? So it could be something that prohibits us from leaving because of natural disasters here in our own country. That's usually covered under the trip cancellation and interruption. One of the other features is that it's usually limited duration, right? So these insurance policies typically last only for the duration of the trip, from a few days to a few months, and does not offer long-term protection. So usually when you when you're purchasing travel insurance, you have to let them know when you are traveling. Now the biggest companies allow you to buy annual protection. So you can go in and out and you have to renew it every year. But if you're not buying the annual package, which costs more, right? We're talking minimum hundreds of dollars. Then you get you have to put in the dates of your travel. And then it doesn't extend outside of those dates. So if you say you're traveling from January 1st to January 15th, you come back and you're sick on January 17th and 18th and 19th from something that you ate or something that happened. Number one, you're not covered because you're not traveling. But number two, you're not covered because it's outside of those dates. Or cover yourself for 2 weeks and then you decide to stay for 3 weeks, that last week you have no coverage unless you go and extend. So exclusions. Coverage often has exclusions for pre-existing conditions, routine checkups, or ongoing treatments, which means it's more suitable for emergency care rather than any type of health management. So if you are someone who's like, oh, I'm going to travel and go get my teeth checked while I'm away. If it's not an urgent situation, and dental separate anyway, but if it's not an urgent situation, then it wouldn't qualify. And so let's go to global healthcare. So global healthcare goes by different names: international health insurance, or expatriate health insurance, right? Expat health insurance. And what is it? It's usually long-term health insurance designed for individuals who live abroad for extended periods of time. These policies cover a wide range of medical services and treatments internationally, often with a focus on providing comprehensive care in both the country of residence and other locations worldwide. It's global health insurance. Some of the key features include comprehensive coverage for a range of healthcare needs, from routine checkups to major surgeries, emergency care, and specialist treatments. Another feature can include global reach. It typically applies worldwide with access to high quality hospitals and clinics in various countries. This is particularly useful for expats who frequently move between countries. Long-term benefits is another key feature. These plans are usually at annual contracts, which you can extend, providing ongoing coverage while you're abroad. So you're not putting in, I'm only going to be there for 2 weeks, I'm only going to be there for 2 months. These are usually annual contracts. Pre-existing conditions is another key benefit or key feature, as some plans may offer coverage for pre-existing conditions, although it can vary by provider and plan. So depending on how extensive your medical needs are, it's an insurance policy that you have to get approved for, right? So depending on the cost, depending on the premiums, all of that gets taken into consideration. But if it's something like, diabetes, or, something that is more common than not. Now, if you have like some type of, I guess it would be something like if you need, what you call it, like dialysis or something like that, that's where it gets a little deeper, right? And so you have to do your due diligence. And again, the From Here to There resource guide that is linked in the description below offers clickable links to global healthcare insurance companies that offer these type of plans. You can directly link, put in your information, your age, all your information, and shop around and see what the cost would be for you and your particular situation. Additional benefits may include maternity care, dental, optical, and wellness services, depending on the policy. So if you get pregnant while you're away, then short-term or traveler's insurance does not usually fall under that category. I would say probably it does not, right? But global health insurance, international health insurance can cover maternity care and the other areas I just named. Excuse me. So we're going to do a comparison between the two options. And well, first, I want to do when you should choose global health insurance versus when you should choose traveler's insurance. Now, we talked about the definition and what's covered, how long it's covered, but let's just break it down even more: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, more simplified. When you're going on a short-term trip, vacation, or business trip, you only need emergency you only need emergency I don't know if you could hear that, but there are some crazy noises happening. You only need emergency medical coverage and protection from trip interruptions and cancellation. Again, this is traveler's insurance. You are not concerned about routine healthcare or long-term medical treatment. Or you want affordable coverage for a short duration. And again, this could be if you're some policies, or if you are 90 miles away from your home, God forbid, you have coverage, or if you don't have a health plan where you are, or if your health plan would be too complicated to provide coverage if you're 90 miles away, or if you don't want your job or whatever to step in if you're 90 miles away, you can use travel insurance in most cases. So when would you use global health insurance? You would use global health insurance when you're living abroad for an extended period of time, usually more than 6 months. You need a long-term medical care, or you need long-term medical care, including treatment for pre-existing conditions, or you require a comprehensive policy that includes things like maternity care, mental health, preventative healthcare services. And so now we're going to get into just looking at it comparatively, right? From a coverage scope first. So global health insurance includes extensive coverage for a broad range of medical services, hospitalization, surgery, preventative care, mental health care, et cetera, worldwide, whereas traveler's insurance primarily focuses on emergency medical care, medical evacuation, and trip-related disruptions. It does not cover routine health care or long-term health management. As for the duration of coverage, let's look at that comparatively. Traveler's insurance is short-term, covering the duration of your trip, typically from a few days to a few months, whereas global health insurance is ongoing coverage for the length of your stay abroad, annual contracts, meaning annual contracts. Let's look at it as it relates to pre-existing conditions. Traveler's insurance usually excludes coverage for pre-existing conditions, or only offers limited coverage with usually added costs associated. Whereas global health insurance, there are many plans out there that offer coverage for pre-existing conditions, though premiums may be higher, for you when you compare costs, right? So if you compare the cost of you without the pre-existing condition and compare the cost with you with the pre-existing condition, you will notice a difference. So let's quickly talk about costs from a comparative standpoint. Traveler's insurance is usually the most affordable, and it is designed for short-term coverage and typically excludes the routine and pre-existing care. Whereas global health insurance is generally more expensive due to broader and more comprehensive coverage. We'll talk about maternity, emergency services, all of that next. Let me just see if there are any. Nope, no questions. Perfect. Okay. So let me get back to the comparative. So if you're thinking maternity and or preventative care, travelers insurance does not typically cover these things. It's usually focused on emergencies only, whereas global health insurance often includes maternity, preventative, and wellness services as part of the policy. And this is really good for people who don't plan to stay. Global health insurance is really good for people who don't plan to stay in one country long enough to become part of their healthcare system, whatever that is, or for people who want that extra insurance. So if you are living in Europe, right, but you decide to, and you have healthcare in whatever country in Europe, but you decide to take holiday or, spend some additional time, month, then global health insurance can be a good supplement, especially if you have pre-existing conditions. So when it comes to emergency services, travelers insurance provides emergency medical coverage and evacuation, but may limit access to ongoing care or non-emergency medical services. And not all policies include evacuation, or if you're getting the super inexpensive, I call them cheap plans, it may only cover 10,000 in evacuation costs, where you can't even get a helicopter to, take off for less than 25,000. And so just be conscious of that. When it comes to emergency services with global health insurance, it covers emergency medical treatment, but also offers access to specialists, long-term treatment, and outpatient services. Trip-related coverages. We talked a lot about health, but let's talk about what happens if there's a disruption in your trip, et cetera, et cetera. So travelers insurance often includes trip cancellation and interruption, lost luggage, flight delays, and other travel-related disruptions, whereas global health insurance does not cover trip cancellation, delays, or lost luggage. So the global health insurance is specifically for your health. It is designed specifically for health-related issues, concerns, emergencies, whereas travelers insurance is broad, right? It also deals with any out-of-pocket expenses that happen because of cancellation. When it comes to how you can customize your policy with travelers insurance, the basic plan that may include optional add-ons for specific needs like adventure sports or high-risk activities, that's a customization that you can do, because you need to pay attention when you do sign up for travelers insurance. They will say, listen, if you decide to go bungee jumping and something happens to you, well, they won't say exactly that. But if it's an adventure sport, high risk sport or activity, and sometimes that includes ATVs. So you really need to understand your policies. You can then, if you know you're going to do bungee jumping, if you know you're going to do high risk sports or ATVing, then there are premiums. There's other add-ons, customizations that you can put on top of that plan and make sure you're covered. Again, it will cost a little more, or a lot more, depending on your situation. When it comes to customizations with global health insurance, policies can often be customized to include additional benefits like dental, vision, wellness, and even repatriation. Repatriation. And so, again, just things to keep in mind. And also, let's talk about the claims process and what that looks like. And I think they're doing some drilling in my building, and I don't know why. um, Travelers insurance. Let me just make sure I covered everything. Duration of coverage. Yes. Pre-existing. Yep. Maternity emergency service. Yep. Yep. Okay. So let's talk about the claims process, and then I'll see if there's any questions, because I think we will be done with the overall little summary, but the claims process. Travelers insurance versus global health insurance. Well, when it comes to travelers insurance, claims are typically quicker and easier as the focus is on short-term emergencies. Though coverage for ongoing care may require more paperwork or be limited. When it comes to global health insurance, claims are often processed through a global network of doctors and hospitals, making access to care easy, but the process can be more complex and requires documentation. One other thing I want to say before I do a summary is, when we travel, I've heard people even in this community say, well, I have health insurance through my company. Please note, 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 note. When you are traveling, you are at and call of the service hospital or service provider. You cannot mandate that they process that paperwork. Sometimes they require that you pay up front and you do all that paperwork when you get back. They want cash in hand, because the bureaucracy, the red tape, all of that can leave them, in a hole. So it's always, I think, I said I'm going to say what I do, not what you should do. But I rather have peace of mind, right? It's just like having car insurance. People think they don't need car insurance. Once they cancel their policy to save a couple dollars is when they have a wreck that totals their car. And then they realize, damn, I should have kept that car insurance, right? Similarly, if you're traveling, and I have a firsthand account, my cousin was on a cruise, had to be taken off the cruise due to heart problems. And this was in Turks and Caicos? No, Barbados. Barbados or Turks and Caicos. And he had great insurance. His insurance was so amazing that, because they wanted, whatever country this was, they wanted upfront payment for anything. Upfront payment for him to get a bed in a private room. Upfront payment for him to see a doctor. Upfront payment for everything. Luckily, his insurance was so good in the US that he was able, by calling he was, conscious and able to make phone calls. He was there with his wife, but his company did the work on their behalf and had him evacuated to Miami. But if he was unconscious, if he didn't have his wife there, if he didn't have a company willing to go the extra mile, then he would have been SOL. And so, again, just knowing that you have coverage in the US does not equal you having coverage outside of the US. Some places are more willing to work with you, but not all places have to. Okay, so basically, to sum it up, both global health insurance and travel insurance offers essential protections when traveling or living outside of the US. They serve different purposes, however. Global health insurance is the better choice for those who are residing abroad long term or needing comprehensive continuous care. Travelers insurance, however, is ideal for short-term travelers who want emergency medical coverage and protection, aka peace of mind, from expected travel disruptions. And so that's pretty much everything related to global health insurance and travelers or travel insurance in a nutshell. And so it is important for you to do your due diligence, do the research, because I've heard living in Mexico and being part of so many of these social communities in Mexico, I've heard it all. I've seen people who've had to raise funds for people who have been living there for years, like 10 years, but didn't have the adequate global health insurance, needed medical care, didn't have the funds, needed to be sent someplace else, and GoFundMe's not, they don't necessarily do the GoFundMe's, but through the networks, they'll, ask to raise funds that could be paid directly to the hospital, et cetera, et cetera. And so, so this I think is very important for anyone who is thinking about moving abroad, thinking about living abroad, on a longer term basis. And even if you're thinking about taking that sabbatical on a short term basis, please, please, please make sure you have adequate coverage. You just never know when something is going to happen when you need it. And so I've said it many times on this channel before, I'd rather us have and not need than to need and not have. And so let me see who's in the building. If there's any questions, I don't see any cues. So that's good. Let me see. That means I did a real good job explaining. Not really. Hey, the ABX girl. Do I know you? Let me see. I think yours is weather related. This happens to me when I'm streaming. It didn't used to. I've been on StreamYard since early 2022. I don't think it's weather related. I think it's something else. And I have a pro package. It's not like a limited package. So I think it's I don't know what it is. But yeah, it could be the cold. I don't know. But I don't know. Hey, Cynthia, good to see you. Hey, Anita, good to see you. Hey, Shalonda, good to see you back as well. Happy Monday. Hey, Constance, good to see you. So I actually, like I mentioned at the top of this, I'm doing community service today for the holidays. I might come in live from there because I love what this organization is doing. It's actually, I'll give a little. First, let me say, if you haven't liked this video yet, go ahead, hit the like button. I always forget to do that. It helps gets the word out. It gets the word out. But yeah, today this company, they have it's a yacht basically, and they dock in Harlem and feed the less fortunate and also provide warm coats and clothing. And what happens is the organization will provide transportation from these housing shelters and the like. And it just happens to be so cold today. And listen, it's December. Good thing it's not a blizzard, right? But right now on the water, it's going to be like 20 degrees. And so I'm part of the volunteer team and the volunteer staff. And so I need to head out to be there no later than like 2:00. And so they have different rounds. So the first round starts in 15 minutes at 12. The second round starts at 2:30. So I need to be there at 2. So I don't see any questions. Let me go ahead and tell you what's coming up. So tomorrow, did I post that yet? Tomorrow we are coming live early again. I want to say about 11-ish or 12-ish, but I will confirm that tonight or tomorrow morning. And we're going to talk about it's going to be a happy conversation. It's going to cover what we kind of started talking about, but why we as a community need to do less spending when it comes to gift giving and more um and more legacy gifting, right? So it's going to be all about legacy gifting, right? And it could be for Christmas, Kwanzaa, their birthdays, or whatever. So things that don't cost money, but things that we don't think about, that can truly matter in our lives and our families, and especially with all that's going on to erase our history, right? So tomorrow we're going to have a conversation about that. And then on Wednesday, we're coming together in celebration as a community for Christmas. And then Thursday is our weekly chat. And then Friday is more of Kwanzaa celebrating, but a different take on it. So let me just see who else I didn't say hi to. I don't know if I said hi to Constance. Yeah, I did say hi to Constance. Hey, WM. I just wanted to say that everyone try to get your financial solvency letter early. There are some banks saying they don't know or can't print a letter. Financial Financially, hold on one second. Hold on. Um, Everybody knows what a financial solvency letter at. Oh, you're talking about from the bank. Yeah, you're not asking. See, I didn't need a financial solvency letter, but definitely listen, these banks don't want to notarize things. The consulate wants notarized. The banks don't want to sign documents that the consulates want signed. So there's a lot of things that you'll have to be, and this is for Mexican residency. Yeah, we'll have to be crafty. Yes, thank you, Anita. Yes, please hit the like button before you tap out of here. You just have to. Yay, good WN. You got your financial solvency letter. Yes, yes, yes. Congratulations. You had a medical. Hi, Elshiva. You had a medical while traveling. I was in Istanbul, Turkey, and I fell because the sidewalks were uneven. My travel's insurance didn't cover it. I had to pay out of pocket. And they didn't reimburse you? If you had to go to the hospital? Where did you get your traveler's insurance from? Because that's not like for the major travelers insurance. Um, um, yeah, for the major travelers insurance, they should cover any hospital stay as long as it falls like you weren't doing extreme sports and walking. And this is big in Mexico too, because they have a lot of uneven. And I know people who have had to go to the hospital because of broken ankles or sprained ankles or whatever, and they were covered. They were reimbursed at minimum for your financial solvency letter. I may have missed it, but there's a global insurance. So I started off this live by saying I'm not going to offer recommendations. What I do have is a resource guide, From Here to There resource guide, that has a list of health insurance providers with clickable links, and you can do your own due diligence. No, I haven't. And I started off by saying I'm not going to do a recommendation, but the ones that are in that From Here to There resource guide obviously are above par, right? They're not the ones that's going to get you. Um, Part two, for the x-ray at the hospital, I twisted my ankle when I fell and there was swelling. I was blessed that I had no broken bones, only bruises. Well, good. I'm so happy that happened. But I will say, like I said, if you use a preferred or a above par insurance company, while they may lose paperwork, you may have to resubmit stuff like that, things happen. I have yet to hear them not pay for standard emergencies. I was in a car accident a really bad car totaled in April of this year in South Carolina, and completely covered. Well, my credit card covered the car, and then my travel insurance covered the hospitalization, the CAT scan, all of that. And so the emergency room, the only thing it didn't cover, which I had to resubmit, was because it ended up covering it, but I had to submit it separately, was the ambulance ride. But that's it. I mean, that's it. So, anywho, I don't see any more questions. We're back tomorrow around 11-ish, 12-ish. I will confirm that later tonight. And yeah, again, hit that like button, Gym Nation. Thank you once again. Share this with friends and family. If anyone is traveling, I wish you safe travels. This is a busy travel season. And so, just be safe, be alert. And make sure you have travel insurance. Make sure you have travel insurance, and not that travel insurance that you just check when you buy your flights, your flight information and stuff. So anyway, thank you, WM. Yeah, I'm about to bundle up like Santa because it is super cold, and like I said, I'm gonna be on the water, and so I may come back live just to. I don't usually like. I'm not gonna probably show the faces of the people, but to show you like the boat, the setup, the views, all that good stuff. I may come back live with that. But anyway, have a good day, everyone, and be safe and try to do something to give back. Not that I'm preaching or anything, but check on a neighbor, bake a cake, give some cookies, whatever. People need a smile this time. Yes, if it's not, past the expiration or whatever, the time lapse, yeah, definitely try again. Okay. Good night, good night. Have a good day, everybody. I'm so used to coming on at night. I'll see you on the next live. Take care.